Bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum.
Action. Comedy. Palace intrigue. Story Squad presents Clash of the Pencils. Welcome. Tonight we have a great matchup, the conclusion of a hard-fought battle all week between Slice and Joanna Man. Right now they are tied at the top of the leaderboard. Only one can become the champion tonight. Welcome back to the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. Now that is a fact, folks. I am Tom Sherman. I'm your host this evening. That is another fact. We're here as we are every night to review the top 3 Clash of the Pencil submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, get the top 5 sentences of the day as selected by Storybot 3000. Every day we field anywhere between zeros and tens of submissions, which get run through our high-tech computer Storybot 3000, who, among other things, uses Dinotan, the only tanning lotion made by dinosaurs for dinosaurs, to analyze every story. We then take Storybot's top 3 picks and let you, the public, vote to determine tonight's winner, and as a result, also the weekly champion. Alongside me tonight, we've got our co-host, Greg the Hind Leg Peterson. Now, why do they call you the hind leg there?
Imprisoned by the horizons, I envy the hawk, his boundless prospect of the sky. Hawks live on the curve of the air. Their globed eyes have never seen the gray flatness of our human vision. Tom?
Right you are, hind leg. Wow, before we get underway, let's take a look at the scoreboard real quick. And so look at this. We've got Slice and Joanna Man locked in a dead heat at 535 points apiece. Champion in third place with 480 points. The Doctor in fourth at 134, and Sarblue 7788 coming in fifth at 115 currently. So really, it's down to Slice and Joanna Man this week. It seems like they're both in the top 3. So whoever comes out on top in that the micro battle is going to be the champion.
It's a micro battle for the macro battle.
Right, exactly. The best type of battling. Let's also take a look at today's writing prompt. What is the origin of the phrase "happy as a clam"? So an interesting. No characters, no setting necessarily. The plot, though, is centered around this phrase, happy as a clam, and its origin story.
It's got a tall tale, kind of folksy aspect that we're exploring. I'm interested.
Is that the direction you would go in if you were one of the writers?
It seems that it's like one of those old timey kind of things. I see kind of like, I don't know, kind of a lot of settlers in West. We'll see where they go. Well, that's
spinning quite a yarn there. Yeah.
Amish adjacent.
Yeah, Amish adjacent indeed. So before we start showing you Storybot's favorite submissions of the evening, let's first remind the folks what we're playing for tonight. The IOU NFT, 1 out of 10,000. This is an NFT, but it's an IOU for a different NFT that will become available in the future. That then you can turn this NFT in to receive the other NFT. So that future NFT has a estimated cash value of $100, and so therefore, so does this one in theory. But that's not all NFTs are. Is just cash value. Think of NFTs like keys to the future. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away day in and day out for resources to give to the queen so that she may survive. NFTs turn this one-directional relationship into a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell at a premium, which in turn appreciate all other NFTs held by community members. So NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, part generational wealth, and all real, baby. Wow. With an explainer like that, I mean, what more do you want, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what the people want, and that is the first story of the night. We're gonna go with so the top three we have tonight are Slice, Joanna Man, and Sarblue 7788. Sarblue 7788 making their first appearance in the top three since Monday of this week, and that's where we're gonna start. It's hard to believe it's all over, Yuko said from beside me. I nodded without looking at him. Instead, I was squinting at the horizon. The golden sun was almost gone, and its fading light glistened off the rolling waves of the ocean. The salty breeze was chilly, with no remnant of the past summer left, though everything had happened this past year would be burned into my memory. Yuko nudged my shoulder. How do you feel? As my mind wandered in 100 directions, my gaze drifted from the setting sun to the waves that rolled back and forth on the shore in front of us. A fluttering feeling rose in my stomach. How could I possibly put into words everything I felt? The tide rolled out again. In its wake, there was a clam that drew my attention. I'd say I feel a bit like that clam. How so? Life is so uncertain. While it's trying its best to just live a normal life, the waves are pulling it in different directions. It relies on those waves to give it food and help it survive, but those same waves are bringing it to the shore where it will meet its end. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen next. That may be true, but would you say that clam is unhappy with its life? While it was still in the water, do you think it thought about when it would end, or did it just enjoy the food and life it had? He bumped my shoulder with his. A wise person once told me that we should appreciate the time we get with those we love. I finally looked up at him. His gentle eyes gazed down at me, and his soft smile grew bigger. Then he stepped closer and wrapped his arms around me in a hug. In this moment, right now, I'd say I'm as happy as a clam in the ocean. Wouldn't you agree, Sarah? My face started to warm, but the fluttering feeling in my stomach left. I nodded. So here we have a final conversation at the end of a transformational summer. Unable to put words to feelings, our main character, Sarah, uses a clam tossed about in the ocean as a metaphor for her state of mind. Yuko, in turn, points out the optimistic aspects of that line of thinking, turning a negative into a positive to end a bittersweet moment. What do you think here, Greg?
I was intrigued by this. It's hard to believe it's all over. Kind of brought me in through some dialogue into the scene. I'm always looking for that first line hook. It was a story about summer nostalgia, the ephemeral beach scene that is already dwindling and we want to get back. I needed some characters sooner. It turned into almost like a Socratic dialogue that it seemed like these central metaphors were not actually representing the setting itself. It's interesting. It's like, I don't know how to the plot. It was essentially plotless, inquiring into how the setting metaphorically represents the human experience through what it's like to be a proverbial clam.
Wow.
So I would say for me, setting was pretty high, plot was pretty far out at the end point, as was character. It was an interesting thing. I'm not even sure if it was a story as much as it was allegorical or sort of pseudo philosophical. What do you think?
I mean, it was beautiful dialogue here, for sure, and it really like captured the essence of that, last gasp of summer love that we all know too well too well. I wish I was as slick as Yuko, and being able to come up with a line like that. Like that's pretty great. I got goosebumps when I was reading it. I think it's I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, I do think the setting, that's one of the notes I wrote down. I wrote ocean, turmoil, scared uncertainty, where it was this nice sort of reflection of where they were, the moment, and yeah, I mean I kind of tend to agree here, where the plot and the characters are not the most developed aspect of it, and it's more in the setting, and the description really carries this story through the day here. And you can kind of imagine if this was a scene in a larger sort of story, it would certainly be effective. Indeed.
It seemed like a vignette or a mood that was achieved, more so than a story. And I think the language was, life is so uncertain and I'm scared. I love the quick, almost Hemingway-esque declarative sentence of those emotions. But there was a lot under the surface that I wanted to know more.
Yeah, definitely a lot there. And a solid start to the evening here. SAR Blue 7788 really setting the pace. Let's see if Joanna Man can keep up.
Burr couldn't help himself from spitting out half his mouthful of beer while he laughed at Discant's joke. He was 3 sheets to the wind and had been saddled up to the end of the bar on the swiveling high chairs for 2 going on 3 hours. "You've got to be kidding me. No way that's true," said Burr. "It's true, and I couldn't be happier than a clam to share it with you," beamed Discant. "What does that even mean?" asked Burr. "What? Happier than a clam. What does that even mean? What is a clam? Does it have a brain, and can it be happy? What does that saying even mean?" "Dude, it's a saying. It means that you're content," explained Discant. "I get its meaning, but what is the origin for the saying? What makes a clam happy? Drinking salt water?" The mention of drinking made a break in the conversation, and both Burr and Discant took a long pull from their pint glasses. "Like, isn't a dollar bill also called a clam? I'm happy to have a lot of clams, but what does happy as a clam even mean?" Discant lost interest and reverted back to his story. He wasn't going to let Burr take over the conversation. "Mother's been building this business that uses this Storybot 3000 machine, and he's been using the programming language to do so. I can't believe they're using such a novice software as the foundation for a business." Burr couldn't let go of his line of thinking. Clam. What actually is a clam? What is the difference between an oyster and a clam? Why isn't the saying happy as an oyster? Burr couldn't help himself. "Clam, clammy, clamorous, clamoring." "Dude, what's wrong with you?" asked Discant. "Don't you clam up on me for clamoring about the clammy scent of this bar. Clam, clam, clam."
All right. So here is a 2 drinking buddies struggling for control of a conversation at the end of a long night. One trying to talk shop, the other caught up in the idiom happy as a clam, unable to let go of his clammy line of thinking.
This perplexed me. I thought it was a very, very dialogue-driven piece, and I felt like it almost sounded like authentic dialogue. I loved the fact when it was like the character Discant lost interest in a one-page story, taking the risk to just lose interest and lose conversation threads. That feels very authentic and real. Then the encyclopedia repetition of all the different idioms that can be kind of freely associated with the word clam. Interesting, a little forced. I also thought it was interesting. It was happier than a clam rather than happy as a clam. Like the comparative got shifted in there. There was almost like this compulsive will to compare and to get the upper hand in this dialogue. I do want to shout out the what makes a clam happy, drinking salt water. That put a taste in my mouth, and then they proceeded to drink. It was a really elegant way of combining the diction with the physical action in a sensory description that drew me further into the scene.
That's a good point.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I mean, it was a humorous bar scene for sure, and I felt like it kind of felt like I was there drinking and eavesdropping. You know what I mean? A couple bar stools down, watching these two clowns, try to talk and have a conversation. I was a little disappointed with the plot. There wasn't much there. I think it's like the humorous part of it that could have built a little more tension is like the struggle over this conversation. So maybe if he actually had his decant lose interest even sooner and try to steer the conversation different ways, maybe twice or three times, and this guy just can't stop thinking about clams. That might have added a little plot and a little more humor to the situation. So yeah, I don't know. I think its strength again was the setting. I don't think it was quite as strong as the previous one. Maybe its characters were a little more developed or as developed. I'm not quite sure there. But plot, I think it's got even less of a plot than SAR Blues.
I will say it did give me authenticity around the diction and the dialogue. I would have loved some facial expressions or some like camera, like how are these landing? How give me some images. But the dialogue felt almost like reading a script, having a script read.
No, it was a fantastic dialogue driven scene, which indeed, interestingly enough, that's also what was SAR Blues too, was a dialogue driven, discussion about clams. So
the two of them were interesting. One was trying to really get at a literal interpretation of the clam as a metaphor. And the other feels like a very throwaway, kind of like casual, loosey-goosey, tying it together. One felt very heavy in the mood. One felt very light. But it's similar mechanics of getting there.
Indeed. So now we just have one more to get through, and we'll see where Slice ends up in this this menagerie of happy as a clam. I don't know. I should have had a better line to line up, but.
Next up, we have Hassan Richman and his special friend Casino. How about a Robinson Ram galoot for Hassan? Mr. Sofree said, lowering the microphone a couple feet, slapping his hands on his Friday jeans, and waving wildly with both to the crowd of students, staff, and parents in the auditorium. He passed Hassan, giving his shoulders a shake before stepping behind the stage curtains. Hassan placed his tiny aquarium on the stool next to the microphone, straightened his sweater vest, and took index cards out of the pocket of his khakis. "This is my best friend," Hassan started, reading every word of his first index card. He never looked up to see the classmates, teachers, or his dad standing in the back corner of the auditorium. "His name is Casino. Casino is a clam. People say it's weird to have a clam as a best friend. I think it is okay. I met Casino when my family went to the beach last summer. I put Casino in this glass box called an aquarium. Casino is my best friend. He taught me to be happy. He said to keep my mouth shut and bury my ears in my pillow when Mommy and Daddy were fighting. He taught me to smile from cheek to cheek when Daddy had to sleep in the old ambulance in our backyard. Most importantly, Casino is someone I admire. Who else do you know that feeds off of all the broken things that swirl in the ocean and fall down to the floor?" Hassan shuffled his index cards again and burrowed them in his pocket with mollusk-like resolve. He carried Casino off the stage without noticing his mother creeping down the aisle into the third row and lunging over seated audience members to an open folding chair. She asked the woman next to her what she missed. "There was a late meeting, you see, and his dad is no help." "Nothing," the woman said. "He's happy as a clam." Mr. Sofree stumbled onto the stage with a smile agape. So here, a nervous or shy boy is presenting a little too much personal information during a school assembly, namely his relationship with a clam,
helping him escape a tragic home life. His mother arrives late, only to be told that she missed nothing. And for the first time, somebody describes her son as happy as a clam. So interesting origin story there. What's your take on this?
This one moved me, Tom. This one really moved me. Slice really kind of sliced me right open there. I thought the setup was brilliant. I thought, all right, a Robinson Ram Galoot, the guy in the Friday jeans, all the precision of how you could imagine the scene, and then we see the students, staff, and audience. You could see we're giving us that image and that gaze of like a lot of eyes on you only intensified the disclosures that were coming later. And oh man, did they come.
Oh.
This poor kid word vomited all over. That this kid's never going to live this down. It was so tender. It was so vulnerable. I felt for him. Characters is put that right in the red for me, Tom. Right in the red. I think vulnerability is the secret superpower of character development. Oh man, so many questions through great details. The wordplay drew you in. Query. All the 3 or 4 syllable words. It reinforced. If show versus tell is the old adage, this showed that not only did this kid not have command of the language, he had no idea what to share and not share about this pet clam named Casino, which is also fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Clam's Casino. Come on, you can't make that stuff up, folks. Except apparently Slice did. But no, I agree. I mean, it was, and even the detail, like as far as the character development, like even the details of the dad standing in the back of the auditorium, seeing it all, and then the mom coming in late and rushing up front, you know what I mean, to try to, and then the kid missing all of that. He didn't see the dad, he didn't see the mom, but you know that it's like foreshadowing that that's a fight that the mom and dad are gonna have later the night about the whole day, and then this kid Hassan is just gonna bury his head in the pillow with Casino.
With mollusk-like resolve.
Mollusk-like resolve. Wow.
The line about feeding on broken things from the ocean. I thought that it was so precise, and just that carried such a weight to it. I feel like the other lines had certain kinds of ambitions to get to that emotional resonance, but this, when that landed, oh my God, I felt feelings, Tom. I felt feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was big. And then and I think its main plot line was sort of that the late mom as well, which added a little bit of tension there to the end, and it wasn't just this kid bearing his soul. I mean, it was it was like a slow moving car crash. You know what I mean? Like you just like had to watch. It was so engrossing. And at the whole time you're just like, oh, you're just cringing.
The spectacle of it, putting all those eyeballs, it's just so socially intense with that scene. We've all kind of been there, but this would be going awry, and just with all the pressure on. Oh,
yeah. So that was a strong finish to a round of 3 great stories, really, and I guess without further ado, let's just see what we got here, right? Like, so current leaderboard, again, Slice and Joanna Man neck and neck. Now what matters, we've saw our opinions, we've seen Storybot 3000 opinions, but now it's really down to the people's opinions and what the public decided to vote on And let's see. Wow. Sarblue 7788 coming in on top today. Slice coming in second. Joanna Man in third. And that means Slice taking the week. So, wow. Congratulations to Sarblue 7788 and Slice on the victories. And then look at this. So, Slice first at 675. Joanna Man at 635. Champion at 538. Sarblue 7788 actually taking 4th place away from the Doctor, and the Doctor coming in 5th at 163 for the week. Wow.
Some solid stories. It was great to see Star Blue back on the podium today, top of the podium.
Sure was. I mean, that was just solid writing all around is a fact. So let's see. Before we go, I guess we don't have a prompt for tomorrow. Ice those elbows, stretch those fingers, make sure, you get a lot of hydration in and all that sort of good stuff. But we do have one more thing to get through tonight, and that is the top 5 sentences of the day. Are you ready?
Bang, let's do it.
Number 5 from Champion. Happy as a clam is a shortened version of the phrase, happy as a clam at high tide, referring to the fact clams are raked from mud at low tide and therefore safe from predation when in high water, the anthropomorphic bird screeched. So, Champion here doing the research.
Throwing in that anthropomorphic bird to just spout off that research.
It was actually that bird's name was Entomology Eagle, and it saved the day from Unanswerable Question Man.
Right.
And it was a nice little ditty, but just not enough to make it to the top 3 tonight.
I like Champion.
Yeah. Number 4 from the Doctor. A hushed terror fell over the clam bake as the Reaper's bony finger gestured menacingly at the yacht club muckety mucks.
Whoa. That took a turn.
Yeah. That was also a highly alliterative story about a family named the Clams with 2 M's, and much like Juana Man's, there was a lot of like clams clamoring to go clamming, clamily type language going on there. But that line really stuck out to Storybot 3000. Number 3 from Juana Man. What is the difference between an oyster and a clam? Why isn't the saying happy as an oyster? Just nice little observation there from a drunk barfly.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. There's like the bit of there's the seeds of a comic bit there.
Right. Yeah. It's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Number 2 from Sar Blue 7788. It relies on those waves to give it food and help it survive, but those same waves are bringing it to the shore where it will meet its end. Just another poignant, emotional, heart-wrenching, like we were saying, the setting matching the mood, etc. There's just a nice little line there. Number 1 coming from Slice. Greg mentioned it before. Who else do you know that feeds off of all the broken things that swirl in the ocean and fall to the floor? Poor Hassan in Casino.
That's gonna stay with me. That's really good, Slice. I want to shout out all the authors for the range of emotions today. Really exploring. I think we've had a lot of kind of heroic action adventure comic book kinds of wild and whirlwind chases. There was some real depth there. Real rounded characters.
That's a fact, and not an easy prompt either. You know what I mean? That was a tough one to kind of wrap your brain around and try to figure out. How exactly are you going to create an origin story? High marks for everybody here, and so that wraps up another week of Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. Congratulations to Champion, or no, not Champion. Sorry, Champion. Not congratulations to you. Congratulations to Slice. And you'll be getting this IOU NFT at some point. I don't know. You're going to have to figure out, set up a wallet or something, and then we'll transfer it. I'm not really sure of the technical details.
But I'm sure the blockchain. It's on the blockchain.
Yeah, it's on the blockchain. And so we'll write Slice next to the ownership name. I'm sure that's how it works. But anyways, until next time, folks, stay safe out there, and we'll see you out on the paper. Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. Draw some fan art. Play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax.
or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax. Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.